Well, I guess it's not too big a surprise, but we couldn't stay off of Mississippi for all that long, and admittedly, it partially is due to the events of our last hunt out here with the super rare piebald diamond fox, and of course the diamond quail as well. I mentioned wanting to get a gold rare alligator, and I also still want to get a dark brown diamond, so we're out here in single player this time. I know we've shot quite a number of gators and haven't been back to check the respawns, so I'm hoping for something good. We've got once again the combination of the muzzleloader and the 303, so we should be able to bring them down fairly consistently, and hopefully there's going to be something good out here waiting on us. And starting out potentially with a pretty much opposite gator of what we're actually after, and they're difficult to spot even when they are broadside. A level 3 sitting there. Now, it is apparently resting, but it's kind of in the water, and that's why I wanted to start up here in the Gator Lakes area. I figured they might still be in the water, and before we kind of go over to the main river, I thought we'd kind of give them some time. So I don't know what shot to even go for here. I mean, brain is about the only thing I see, and we're not at a good angle. We can try to scoot in around it a little bit, but that's about the worst case scenario when they are actually resting and still don't offer a shot. I'd say that's about as good as we're gonna get. I mean, if we get much closer, the grass starts to block our view. So we're gonna try to kind of slot this shot right in behind the eye there. Tough to do, and also tough to know until the gator starts floating. So we got that shot. I don't suspect we're gonna be going for a whole lot of those today. I really, for one, I don't like to go for those shots where the gator is mostly submerged, and I also don't tend to be very good at it, so we're lucky that we even got that one. And of course, level 3 I think is the minimum level, so we could kind of go back to what was the beginning of the last hunt here on Mississippi, where we shot a Hall of Fame, or Hall of Shame, gray fox. Maybe this guy could join that. Nice little 238 silver. Silver's 226. There's a chance you could maybe get a bronze male, but that is the variation I want for a diamond. The dark brown there, so maybe a good sign, but we'll tax it, I suppose, for the Hall of Shame. And actually, we have a Hall of Shame raccoon as well, so we could do a little multi-mount with that. I would say spending a little time to get that level 3 gator actually worked out in our favor. We can see now they're kind of resting up on the banks like we would expect, and that should allow us to be a lot more successful with our kind of method using the muzzleloader and the 303 that we were working on last time. Now, because of the grass, I can't quite see where like the arm of that one was. I think it'll be an okay shot, and hopefully that will help to bring him down, but I'm kind of surprised to see no health drop, and it's finally starting to. Now these areas, like these lakes, are a lot shallower, so it may still flow back to us, but I'm not even sure what was necessarily wrong with that shot to see the health take that long to start to go down. That female gator is just flying back to his zone. It finally kind of slowed down to normal pace to, I guess, maybe get in this shallow water. I've never seen them do that anywhere else, and there was a level 7 with her. I don't know if it's still around, but fortunately our level 5 did end up floating back, and an opportunity maybe for learning as to what actually happened. And it was that single lung shot, and we saw that last time. If we end up shooting through the front leg, a lot of times even the muzzleloader doesn't have the reach to get double lung, and in areas with deeper water, especially with a not so ideal follow-up shot, that's enough for them to get away. So good to know, good to have that little refresher. And unless there is a speedboating level 7 gator around here, I think we'll kind of be on our way around. That one may just kind of be staying down in the deep water. So we got at least a little bit of practice before coming over here to the river and the area that's a lot more likely to end up losing the gators, but not as much as I would have liked. There wasn't a whole lot going on at the Gator Lakes area for male gators, so we're kind of back to the river, and hopefully the little bit of kind of refreshing we got on how to do this is going to help us. So I can kind of see the leg a little better. We'll keep that shot back, and ideally before he kind of goes anywhere, I'd like to get that second shot off, but we weren't able to there, we gotta follow up in, and we're actually again in the one area on the river where you do get like a little bit of bonus time, because they kind of run straight out, and it's this little area where the land kind of juts out into the water a bit. So I'm not even sure we're gonna get that one. I think we should, but he actually made it pretty far. But he is kind of floating back for us. You can kind of see actually as well, that one out there that's nervous, I believe that is roughly the point where the water gets to the deep point, so we didn't make it by much. The 7 did disappear, but I think, yeah, it's just like a, I don't know, a glitch that happens with not only just gators on this map. At a certain distance, dead animals just aren't visible, but then once you get within that distance, they reappear, so we should be all good. Again, I would say though, we kind of lucked out with that. It was a double lung shot that time, and really that was pretty much it. It was only a flesh hit, and we were a little too far forward with that 303 shot. I thought we may have been, but the double lung and the fact that we stayed kind of behind that leg really did save us there. Otherwise, I have no doubt that one would have gotten away, but a nice little 412 gold there, and hopefully that can be another little lesson to us as we are continuing along. Anywhere really north of this, at least on the main river part here, they won't be running on land that long, and they will probably escape if we don't shoot a little better, so good to know. And hopefully, like I said, we can put that to use here on the next one. Well, I would say this is a slightly different scenario. I'm actually not sure. I think we're going to go to the muzzleloader here first. Boy, I don't even know how to try to aim a shot like that. It's not supposed to be that close range. I think actually our first shot was a lung. The second should have been. I don't know if that's going to get away or not. I'd really like to think we could get one like that. It's a lot of waiting around. Once again, we managed. Probably not in the best way, but that's the one kind of cool thing about hunting the gators. When they do end up making that run towards the water, you just never know if it's going to be enough or not. And in that case, once again, we were lucky enough to bring him down, and another gold from that level 7, and it actually was, again, the muzzleloader that made the difference. Our follow-up shot was too high, which, you know, maybe can be forgiven at 5 meters. I don't think that was necessarily where we should have aimed, but not too hard to mess up, I would say. But yeah, it was that weird kind of above angle that got the double lung shot. I'm glad we were carrying that. I really did consider not bringing it today. I'm not sure we'd have any gators yet if we went with just any other rifle. Now that could be problematic. I think we're kind of in that time of day where the gators start to... Usually what seems to happen is they'll swim out to the water and then eventually come back. Now if this was a level 9 or a rare, obviously we'd be hanging around for quite some time, but because it is just a mythical, we're gonna at least try to get a shot in there. We actually hit the brain shot. Now I don't think we get to claim it. I saw the health drop. The hunting pressure is clearly there. I just don't think we can actually go and recover because it's not going to float back up to the surface, so kind of unfortunate we won't get to know what it is, but I'm pretty sure because that kind of still counts as them drowning, it should ultimately result in a respawn, so as much as it would have been nice to know how big that one was, it does kind of accomplish the same thing. I think this might be the part of the hunt I'm most excited for, and it's not only because we get situations like this where the gators are just running for what seems like forever. Now that one may be able to get into the deep water, it depends on our shot there with a muzzleloader, but this was kind of the area of the map where I kind of spent the most time at the beginning before I knew that there were gators over by the river and such, and once again you kind of see here the advantage of this particular area. It's sort of like the center river around the Bald Tree Break area. They kind of just don't have a great escape to the deeper water, but we did shoot a bunch of gators over in here, kind of like our early streams, like during that creator early access period. And then once I learned that there were gators over by the river on the west side of the map, I kind of abandoned this area, so I'm curious what maybe respawned from that and what could be in here. And who knows, I probably wasn't very good at locating them at the very beginning, so I could have very easily just kind of missed something as well. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't take very long hunting this area to get into the part of the map where the water is deep enough for them to escape. And with these two side by side, I really am considering trying at least to get both. The only kind of feasible way I can see is attempting to hit maybe both with 2 303 rounds. I don't know, we could sort of switch to the muzzleloader, but because we want to hit both, I don't know how that's going to work, so we'll at least attempt this. I have no idea how it's going to go. Actually, the 5 is probably going to get away. The 7, we hit good. It might still escape to deeper water. I feel like the shooting was actually pretty decent there. It was just the fact that the 303 is probably not quite powerful enough to bring them down at the speed that we needed. Now, I could be wrong. We have some hunting pressure there. We did bring them down quick, but yeah, unfortunately, they can get away. I felt actually really good about the shot placement. I guess in that case, we should have just tried to insta-drop, but that would have been tough with 2 of them. Well, once again, we kind of find ourselves in this situation with a fleeing gator, and I kind of happen to know from the direction it's going, it really shouldn't be able to actually escape, because it's got to get all the way out past us, and that is kind of the direction they tend to run. Now, making a vital hit here would be rather necessary, but I believe at least our second shot there is going to be good. And I mean, it could run for probably like, I don't know, 2 minutes and not get away, so that one, luckily, we don't really have to worry about. And I guess we can kind of scan the shores and see if anything else is around, but there wasn't as many gators up through here as I expected. By the way, that one didn't make it as far as I would have thought, so that's kind of a good thing. But I'm kind of thinking, maybe we should try, I think it's down through here, and it might have been this area. Yeah, I've got a gator rest zone there, just to kind of see if maybe more have spawned there from all the gator hunting we've done. Because it definitely doesn't have the abundance of gators that we saw on our first couple of hunts. But another gold there and another dark brown. We've definitely seen more of those today than we have on pretty much any other hunt. That shot wasn't the best, but double lung, that kind of makes sense as to why it went down as quickly as it did. So yeah, with kind of the main areas I intended to check done now, we'll go and try those areas that maybe are hiding more gators than I would have expected. Well, at least this area has gators in it. Level 4 is not quite what we're after, but we can go ahead and hit that one. This other one is running through here as well. I was not aware that you could have this kind of success around here. Now well, actually that might help us, but I don't think they can get away. Like, I don't think the water is deep enough here either. We actually went up to this little area, which I had forgotten about, but it seems to be rather good for them. And again, I haven't really intended to hunt the areas much where they kind of have to run past you. It's just sort of ended up happening that way. Now that other one still has not gone down, so it may be able to escape. At least we got the one, although kind of unfortunate it was the lower level actually. Guess we got them both. But yeah, it's nice to, I guess on 2 different levels. One, just keep on getting the respawns in hopes of getting a gold rare or a dark brown diamond, but also to kind of learn these spots that maybe are a little more consistent in terms of the shots for gators. I don't love when they kind of have to run past you. It feels like it sort of gets rid of that challenge, but it's also, at least today, not really been intended. It's just been the areas that we're going to, and then they start to flee right past us. So it's good to know where they are anyway. But I think the last spot we gotta get to is this one up here that I had mentioned. I don't know if we can see it from the east side of the river, but that's the side we're on, so I guess we'll give that a shot. It is nice to see another decent-sized gator over here. Now, I'm not actually sure what the odds are of this one actually getting away, but before it goes anywhere, we'll get that first shot off. It is going to be tough. Just squeeze another shot in there with the 303. We did get it, and I know I've said this a number of times with gators, and thus far, every time I've not been correct, but it did look a little bit dark to me. I think the olive fur types, or the olive variations, I should say, tend to look a little bit darker at a distance than they do up close. So it could simply be that, but always holding out hope for a melanistic gator. I think, and that was level 7, so it would be a guaranteed gold. I'm not sure, I almost prefer the sort of stripe looking piebald over all the rest, but a melanistic gator would just be such a cool thing to have in the trophy lodge. So if we were to get something like that, I would be just thrilled, but evidently there's another around. Actually, that one is heading off that direction. Now, I think it's the sun on his back, but it looks especially light in color. I couldn't spot it, but it must have been that track, and it was in olive, which the fact that we saw one that looked rather dark in color and one that looked rather light, and even the lighter one turned out to be an olive, I'm not super optimistic for our level 7, but the one thing I am pretty optimistic about is our ability to probably recover it. It seemed to go down pretty quick as far as when the hunting pressure popped up, so hopefully it's over here. And in fact, it didn't even make it to the water, so that worked out rather well. Now that we are up to it, it does appear to be the olive variation. A nice 403 gold, and that stomach liver shot definitely would have been helpful from the 303, so one of the first times we've actually been able to make an effective follow-up today. We've just been rather fortunate in the positioning of some of the gators that we shot where we didn't really make a great follow-up, but I think despite the fact that we've covered so much ground today, no rares, no level 9s, but quite a lot of gators down and hopefully some respawns for the future, as we have a level 5 just kind of swimming out there. Looking light again, but I'm pretty sure it is just the sun. That is something I don't tend to hunt them as much later into the day. I think the sun being directly overhead is kind of causing some of that, but who knows, it might just be the particular location we're in. But anyway, I think that is going to do it for this video. Lots of respawns, hopefully, for the next time we come out. I'm definitely intending on coming out here again sometime in the very near future. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.